Hi there, I'm Luma and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to subscribers and regular viewers. I just want to say thank you so very much for your astonishing comments and what you're sharing. It's so beautiful to read all of your comments, and I surely do. And I know a lot of people, you can't comment if you don't have a subscription on YouTube, but I feel you. My goodness, I feel all of you who are tuning in with me at this level of human experience. There's many places and channels to tune into here, so I thank you so much for tuning in with me. And if you've just found me here, I make these videos because I have this ability to tune into a vast array of energetic phenomena. I can see energetic structures. I watch energy moving all the time. I bring that through my own personal human channel here with my higher teams. They're pretty vast, amazing beings, and we kind of organize all this phenomena into words, ground it down into our human hearts, our human experience here, to steady ourselves through dramatic and wild change that we're going through right now. So this video, I've got a lot to share. I pack a lot into these videos. So I want to share about finding equilibrium in revelatory times. Yeah, we're living in times where there's revelation after revelation after revelation at many layers of human life. Yeah, I'm speaking here more of like the divine revelation experiences, right? Like divine disclosure of our actual incredible eternal divine nature as, I'm going to say, angelic human beings. That's humans with souls and oversouls and higher selves and luminary selves. Yeah. So this revelation of our divine nature that's happening in the midst of revelations of the level of darkening, of limitation, of inhibitions against our divine nature from being expressed here. This cycle of darkening that we are emerging out of here. Okay, so a lot of revelations on, my God, what the hell have we been living in here, right? All the pain, the suffering, all of those things. And I've spoken a lot about that in some other videos. If you haven't checked out my previous, most recent videos about the dark reckoning, indigo souls, and karmic completion, please have a listen to that one. I really talk about that, a lot of those imbalances that we have been living with here and adapted to, right? So as we're living in this time of revelations, shocking disclosures of the hardships that we've endured, that our ancestors endured, that the collective of humanity has endured and adapted to survive under very harsh and brutal conditions indeed. Okay, so a lot of revelations of that nature. Yeah, a lot of information out there, my goodness. I want to also point out the revelations of a benevolent nature, right? This benevolent unveiling of this human awakening, and this deep desire to awaken to our fuller, richer potential, right? Everyone wants to live a better life. They want their kids, the next generations, to have a better, fuller, more peaceful, harmonious life. Yeah. And so there's this revelation of, wow, we have a lot more going on than just our human incarnate level, souls over souls, communicating with other realms here on earth, the mineral realms, animals, plants, in the water, aquatic realms, the star nations, the star realms, the galaxies, the cosmoses. It's poof. There's so much information coming out. So how do you navigate through this, right? How do we steady ourselves? Yeah, when we're being all these revelations and information coming from external sources, just pop up on here on YouTube, my goodness. kinds of stuff on here, right? And internally, my goodness, too. It's like, oh, right? Different relationship internally with yourself. Yeah. Your old identity that survived under harsh conditions. Yeah. And this identity's, I talked about it last time, this old crust that's falling off, right? Yay and hooray, but oh my God, freaking out as well, right? Like, how do I operate? Who am I anymore, right? It's very disorienting, very destabilizing internally, your relationship to yourself, to your source, and relationship to others, and what's happening in the external world so much, all right? So, you know, this experience that we're having of being really undone, like unhinged, you know, we just feel like agitated, anxious, irritated, destabilized on so many levels, right? There's so much purifying, and we know this, clearing, you know, cleansing, releasing, letting go, karmic completions, big endings, big endings, big completions, you know? And, you know, on the inside here, my gosh, your human selves, all your like emotions and your intuitions, like, what do I believe? What do we're getting kind of, you know, like this. We're like being sloshed around, you know, just like sloshing kind of dangerously. You're walking around, right? Things are going to spill out and leak. You're going to tip over, right? Sloshing around, wildly sloshing around on the inside. Okay, so this can be, you know, a lot of emotional energy, tons of emotional energy that has just been pressurized, locked, compacted, suppressed, repressed, you know, and all of a sudden it's like opening up these higher frequencies. We're talking about higher energy, consciousness levels, crystalline, pure, Christic consciousness coming in, stirring everything up here. Yep. And it's getting a bit messy, but good, a good kind of messy, right? So these emotional energy being released, it finally gets to move around and reformat itself, you know, reformat ourselves at the liquid, emotional, intuitive levels, right? Let's talk about this like topsy-turvy going on in our minds, right? Do I believe this? Do I believe that? All the beliefs, right? Right? Functioning, sense of time, sense of space, memory. That's a lot for that little limited part of the mind. I've often talked about that. It can't really process what is going on right now, right? And so incredible levels of like agitation, okay, going on. It's like topsy-turvy, jostling, and slamming, is that even a word? Jostling, slamming, crashing, you know, fizzling out, right? Okay. Also want to, and I spoke about this in my previous last video, grief, right? Deep, profound levels of grief that we're touching inside of ourselves and in our lives, you know, in the stories of others, yeah. And there's this, it's like a long procession of grief, right? Of this mourning of what could have been, what might have been, what should have been, you know, of lost opportunities, unrealized potential, yeah. The loss of our identities of who we were, because we're going to be functioning very differently in the world in the very near future, right? Loss of loved ones. Loss of life as the way it was, yeah. It's like this realization, we're not going back. We're ever evolving and emerging, yes. And also there's memory of past, other eras, other epochs, other timelines, other lifetimes. Like, just inundated with all of this, yeah. and these griefs that have been long held, and we haven't been able to touch them as a collective of humanity because it was just too heavy and great, okay? So this is being touched and moved through as well, okay? So it's much, much, much to be with right now as a human here, right? Okay. So actually, I'm going to share next about a really interesting dream that I had, okay, of being in an interior space, okay? In the dream, I was in this interior space. It was just kind of grayish and undefined, but it felt like it was an interior space. And I was just there, and then people would just appear out of thin air. They just appear out of thin air, and they'd be walking around like, muttering, holding their heads like, oh my God, I have to do this. This thing is, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just want, I can't forget. And then they just can be looking around frantically. And then like a door would appear, and then they kind of disappear or get sucked through a doorway. And then this is kept happening in the dream. I was just there watching people appearing in this state of confusion, disorientation, agitation. And then just wanting, it's just like, and then off they go through a doorway. Oh my God, I got to help these people, right? I always got to help people. So it's like, I got to stop them and talk, have a conversation. So someone appeared like, hey, I'm walking around as they're pacing. I'm walking with them like, hey, just like slow down. I just be aware. We've got new choices here. This was we've got some new choices. And they're, no, I can't. And then they go through the doorway again. So I woke up like, what the heck? What was that dream about? Where was I? I just got, hey, in the dream, I was inside the gray matter of the human brain. The gray matter. In the gray areas of the human brain. In those areas where there should be, or could be, awareness, and there wasn't any awareness. There was just habit. There was agitation, and there was like just wanting the agitation and the anxiety and the fear and the discomfort to go away. And so the doorways were like old, familiar, habitual neural pathways, right? You know, finding your way to either soothe or suppress, yeah, or numb, distract, or deny what you're actually experiencing, yeah? So I was watching, again, this repetition, yeah? In this place, okay? And so I want to talk about awareness and equilibrium. Okay, if you can stay with me here. Thank you for watching and continuing on here. So if there's no awareness, you know, we just keep repeating the same things over and over. We feel uncomfortable. We want the discomfort to go away. We feel uncomfortable. We want the discomfort to go away. You know? So let's just imagine those gray areas of the brain are filling up with color and light and higher frequency and awareness. All right? Okay. Okay, let's drop a little bit more together as we're listening here to equilibrium. What is equilibrium? Yeah, equal balance. Equal balance. Okay. Equilibrium is returning to your original state after a disturbance, right? So I'm looking at equilibrium here from the point of view of returning to our original divine state, returning to our original eternal nature after a period of disturbance, great disturbance, after a period of darkening, amnesia, limitation, separation, polarity, okay? So what is equilibrium? Is like depolarizing. When something's out of balance, Yeah. You know, our systems naturally want to be in balance. That's how intelligent we are. That intelligence has been very distorted. Yeah. Very polarized. Yeah. And we've adapted to live in extremely polarized states of imbalances. Like we've got, you know, carrying a glass of water, we have to walk around carrying it like this and trying not to spill anything out. And we thought, like, you know, and we're trying to drink out of the glass and we can't drink out of the glass because it's out of balance, right? And so we kind of got used to, I don't know, some kind of crazy straw to kind of drink the water, whatever, right? We adapted to imbalance. So we're talking about equilibrium here. Yeah. So water just naturally comes to equilibrium. Yeah, we have that liquid nature, liquid crystalline nature here. Yeah, we kind of lost touch with that because we've adapted to such extreme imbalance, right? You know, if you've ever had an alignment from a body worker, you know, I remember years ago when I first went to yoga class and I was lying there in Shavasana and my yoga teacher came around and just gently adjusted my head. And I went, why is she making my head crooked? It was straight. She goes, no, actually, this is balanced. But it felt crooked to me, right? Because I was so used to, we're so used to these holding patterns. Like this feels straight. I feel like I'm sitting straight, right? Equilibrium, okay? Right? We have been repeatedly and violently battered from the inside in our own minds, right? The conflict within us, the judgments, the criticism, the self-punishment, you know, all of that, like violently battered on the inside and on the outside too, you know. People in positions of authority, relationships fraught with conflict, yeah? Just like constantly bashed and bashed and bashed. How do you ever come to equilibrium? How do you ever stop and just be still? Yeah, very challenging times to find equilibrium. And yet actually it's our key. Yeah, where is equilibrium? Where is this nebulous state of equilibrium, equanimity, tranquility, peace, calm? We all want to try and get there. I got to get calm. I got to calm my nervous system down. I got to regulate my nervous system. I got to regulate my nervous system. I'm so distressed. I got to regulate my nervous system, right? That's a term often used, often used, often used. I just want to reframe that a little bit here to our nervous systems have been highly freaking regulated. Highly regulated, very limited as to what we could express and what we could not express, what we had to suppress and contain, which is a hell of a lot. And where's that going to go, right? It's like nervous system that's just frazzled, fried, and it just wants to soothe itself, you know, in these old looping patterns. Oh, right? Numb out. Oh, soothe. Check out. Right? I'm not talking about that kind of soothing of the system. That's really not equilibrium. That's habitual self-soothing, one could say, you know. So this, you know, releasing our nervous systems from levels of regulation, habitual regulation, yeah. What has inhibited and blocked our natural intelligence, which finds itself coming into equilibrium naturally, just coming into equilibrium naturally, okay? It's one of our attributes as humans. It's one of these incredible, beautiful, divine intelligences that we embody here, yeah? But we've been pretty off-center, right? Pretty off-center. So how do we land and seat ourselves in equilibrium? Yeah. So I want to use the word sovereign and sovereign soul. Okay? Of that being seated in your place of power, in your place of balance, you know, seated physically in your center of gravity, right? And how knocked off and knocked out of center we have been, yeah? Knocked out of the center of our soul, the truth of our eternal nature, yeah? How we incarnated with a little tiny soul spark here. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the rest of our soul to catch up with ourselves and bring all the rest of our soul energy and soul frequency in. Yeah. Finally, this is starting to happen. You know, this is a lot of the revelations of deep and profound spiritual teachings. It's a beautiful, incredible time to be alive. So when we're coming into equilibrium, what are we accessing? Crystalline intelligence. Crystalline. What do I mean by crystalline? Clear. Clear, crystal clear. Source intelligence. Yeah, it's the natural intelligence of this earthly dimension. It's the divine communication system. Okay, crystalline intelligence, natural intelligence, very different from artificial intelligence. Okay, I'll be talking a lot more about these in future videos and on my other platforms. I also would like to use the word luminary. Yeah, it's like we've got our biggest, highest self level that we can access. You know, I use the word luminary. Okay, the luminous self, right? That big self that holds equanimity while our humans sloshing all around, our minds going topsy-turvy, our souls, you know, trying to integrate back with our human, and the soul's sloshing this way, the human's going this way. Luminary self is holding that, you know, holding the equilibrium here for us, yeah? Vast teams, legions of support holding us. So when you drop into your deeper eternal divine nature, that's where equilibrium resides, yeah? And then we can move with all of these human and soul experiences, yeah? And then there's the equilibrium in that deeper place. And then we're moving, yeah? So really just wanted to share this concept with you on this video today, because everyone's going through so very much, so many different ways to understand what's happening, yeah? Sometimes you just need to find that inner equilibrium, that deeper, higher, fuller place, right? Okay. Also want to let you know I'm going to be doing a live call series finally. Hooray, hooray. Just getting my technological stuff sorted out. Yeah, during Mercury retrograde, of course. Yep. Mercury retrograde, also a good time to do things that you've been putting off, that you've been wanting to do, and now it's time to take care of things. Yeah, I've been wanting to do live calls for quite a while, so I'm working in the background, behind the scenes, getting the technology and all the admin and things. It'll likely going to be 3 Sundays, maybe 4, coming up in December likely, and details as soon as I've got that all sorted out and how you can register. I'll put the links below. Beginning of December likely again, and over on my Patreon and Telegram channel I'll announce the details, so stay tuned for that. I'll be sharing a lot more, as I mentioned before. Just channels are open here, information streaming in. I'm filling notebooks and notebooks of writing. I'm a really bad typer. It takes a long time to get it into writing and things like that, so I just want to make these videos and do some live calls where I can share some this information, some guided practices, some inner kind of meditative journeys to stabilize the group, answer some questions, things like that. So details as soon as I've got that ready during Mercury retrograde. Yeah. You'll find them here on YouTube and Patreon and Telegram. Alrighty. I think that's all I want to share for today. Again, we'll just finish by dropping in together to that state of equilibrium that's here. It's always been with us, yeah. All the help that's always been with us that we couldn't see. That's part of the revelation here, that we've always been supported through our darkest journeys, there's always been support. And now we're starting to see that. We're starting to feel that. Yeah. And we know that when there's this equilibrium that we can feel. Yeah. In the presence of all of these incredible, shocking, and beautiful and magnificent revelations. All right. Take good care. Keep on going. I do still do one-on-one work as well if you're looking for that kind of support as well. And I will be back very soon. Bye for now.